Welcome to Therapist Spotlight.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Angie's Therapist Spotlight, the podcast where we aim to showcase our wonderful members to the wider community. I'm your host, Joshua Brooks, and tonight with us we have Victoria Baskerville. Victoria is a naturopath working in Port Hedland, and I believe it's a mining town out there, so it's going to be very interesting, I can assure you, with some wonderful questions. So Victoria, how are you this evening?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for having me today.
Oh, it's our pleasure, absolutely. So, first question, what got you into natural therapies?
Well, I think with a lot of natural therapists, we all kind of have our own health journeys and health issues that kind of get us interested in it. So for me specifically, I had my own fertility issues back in my early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a doctor. They basically told me, just take some medication, get some ovulation support, and you'll be fine. And then 5-minute conversation, basically telling me what I was doing as a female, as a woman, I couldn't do. And that gave me a lot of anxiety. It gave me a lot of stress around the whole practitioner-client kind of relationship. And I got interested in that and wanted to support myself and support others as well.
Yeah, wow.
So, yeah, here I am.
Yeah, wonderful. And so then, how did your journey take you to Port Hedland? Are you sort of from Western Australia, or how did that happen?
Well, I guess I'm from everywhere, but I think WA would be my home, specifically Perth.
Mm-hmm.
But back when I was having my fertility issues, I was actually living in town maybe like 8 or 9 years ago. And then I got obsessed with natural stuff. And then I started a health food store up here because there was no access to pretty much anything. You have to buy it all online. So I was like, no, I'm going to do it myself. So it's like of started like a little small business. It's absolutely thriving now. There's like an actual shop and everything. Like it's absolutely amazing. But so that's where I started. I went back down to Perth to study for a few years. And then this year in January, I came back up to Port Hedland and started my business as a naturopath. So back in town.
Wow. Cool.
Super
So
interesting.
So are you working out of the same health food shop that you started? Or
No, I'm not. No. So there's this really cool place called the Health Hub in Hedland. So we've got my therapist, a massage therapist, and myself all sharing the same space. Yeah,
awesome. And so what's it like being a naturopath out at a mining town? Because you don't necessarily think of miners as the most naturally minded people, which is, again, a bit prejudiced, but it's typically what you think of. So how's that been?
It's actually surprising how many people are so interested in their health up here, because there's a lot of iron ore, so that comes with its own set of health issues. But also there's a lot of young families up here that are super invested in raising their kids healthy and just giving them everything that they need. There's obviously a little bit more money up here as well, so people have the investment opportunities to get supplements and get testing done and everything like that. So I'm really surprised actually how many men have come to see me, because I did not think that I would be seeing as many as I am. There's a huge gym culture up here as well. So a lot of people are super invested in fitness, and because everyone's doing like 12-hour days, they're highly stressed, they're highly functional, and you've literally got nothing else to do here but except for go to the pub, go to the gym, or go to work. So there's a lot of people that are kind of interested in what I do, and also finding testing as well that not necessarily you can get from the doctor. So I do a lot of microbiome mapping and a lot of good gut bacteria versus bad gut bacteria, everything. Everyone wants to know what's happening because of the whole gut focus, and everyone's into gut health as well. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's excellent.
Yeah.
So then what's the main things that you do see there? So lots of gut health that you're talking about, lots of gym sort of people do a lot of like emergency care. I was wondering, like, because I could imagine scrapes, cuts, bruises, all that kind of stuff would be quite prevalent through the mining industry. And then you do like chronic things from, like you said, breathing in iron ore dust or breathing in coal dust or all that kind of stuff. Do you see many of those clients?
Actually, not really. So
wow.
I see a lot of fertility issues, either people on complete opposite scales. So they have kids and they're completely depleted and exhausted and just trying to do all of the things, be a full-time mum, full-time parent, daycare issues, health issues and all of that associated. And then I've got people that are struggling to conceive as well. So it's just a combination of environment, lifestyle. There's so much going on. But then I also see a lot of kidney issues, surprisingly.
Yeah, right.
But the thing is, with up here, we've got a terrible water source. So it's really frowned upon to actually drink the water out of the tap up here because there's a lot of calcium and the pipes are gross. I don't know, but I'm seeing a lot of chronic UTIs, chronic kidney infections, like things just escalating so far. And the healthcare system is a little bit touch and go up here as well. You've basically got FIFO doctors that don't really have the opportunity to build rapport and build a relationship. But then we've also got one hospital in town and it's just not enough to go around, really. So yeah, a lot of chronic stuff, a lot of chronic fertility and a lot of digestive stuff as well, I guess. So you could say a lot of bloating and just uncomfortable, poor absorption, poor nutrient absorption, I guess, and a lot of issues with the food that we're eating up here too.
Yeah, I was going to say some of those mining cafeterias may taste good, but I don't think they're the most nutritious.
Well, also for the supermarkets as well. Like we've only got 2 supermarkets in town, and it all comes up cold storage. It's sitting there for gosh knows how long. And the quality is just not there. So trying to source it from other places, that's a really challenge for me.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, how does that dietary mapping go up there? It would be very difficult to get the sort of food that you want. So how have you navigated that challenge?
Well, it's hard work, absolutely. Yep. But there's some surprisingly super healthy people up here. So there's a couple of food delivery services that come up here from Perth, particularly Perth Organics, Food Fanatics, and there's a few others. And they actually come from like organic farms. And you can do specific orders. So I've utilized that a lot, but also supplementing is probably, unfortunately, a part of my treatment plan. Like we just can't get it from anywhere else.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it is what it is. But this place is so transient and short term. So if I can help people just like be aware and like the education around like what to be eating, then when they leave the town and go to places that have beautiful food like Margaret River and things like that, then they can make better choices because they have that education and understanding around it as well.
Yeah, wow, wonderful. So again, since you're sort of out Port Hedland way, there is quite a few cattle stations around there. Do you see many farmers come through, or is it just mainly mining? Yeah, what's that sort of like?
There's not too many farmers around here, no. I've definitely seen people that have come from other places as well. So I'm not sure if you know Port Hedland, it's about 16 hours north of Perth. And then we've got really remote places like Newman, and that's a 4-hour drive inland and then 6 hours up to Broome. So I've seen a few people that have driven 4 hours from Newman, come see me, go to the dentist here, go to the skin specialist, go and get referrals for other tests done. So they do everything all in one go and then go back to their isolated little towns that has nothing in it. So not too many farmers, I'm afraid, but there's a lot of people that do FIFO up here, but then also it's quite a huge community of people that live here, work here and have families here too. So it's mostly my people.
Yeah, cool. So if I was to come to you for a consultation, How do you sort of go about it? What's your method? What do you ask? What do you like to know? What do you like to discuss with me? How does your consultation process work?
Well, it can really depend. Like everyone is so different, and what they're coming to see me for is so varied. So I really don't know what to expect the half the time. But I usually start with kind of explaining what a naturopath is, because there's a lot of people that have never seen one before. Their friends have got my name and referred me, so they're like, I don't know what to expect. So I kind of, I'm just here. I paid for you to tell me things. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I usually, it's so, yeah. So I usually start with like getting them to explain absolutely everything, what's going on, how did it happen, how long has it been happening for, all of that. I kind of pretty much focus on gut, hormones, immune system, because that's mostly the things that are coming through. And then as I'm going, I'm explaining stuff, and I feel like people really need to understand the links between things as well. So I talk about gut bacteria and how that can affect your mental health, your immune system, and like where the root cause is coming from, because the amount of people that don't know your immune system starts in your gut, or your neurotransmitters get made in your guts as well. So I think that's where a lot of my referrals and repeats keep coming back, because they want to know more. The first little juicy bits of information, and then it's like, oh, I'm researching this, I'm researching that, and like they get invested in their own health. So I ask you a million questions, come up with like a treatment plan based on what they want. So depending on budget, depending on whether they want tests. Some people want to spend hundreds of dollars on a test. Some people are just like, yeah, just give me the herbs and I'll come back in a month's time, see how we go.
Yeah.
So it can just vary so much, but I love doing testing as baselines. So whether they bring their own stuff in, or I help them out with that. Depends on the client.
And like you were saying, with that, how are the GPs around Port Hedland? Have you found, are they pretty good at giving them blood works and that sort of stuff, or like you said, do they have to drive for a couple of hours to get the testing that you want? How does that sort of work out there?
Yeah, well, it's a bit challenging at times. Not gonna lie. So sometimes it can take around 2 weeks to get into a GP. So there's a lot of people that don't go to the GP and don't know what to ask. They feel a bit overwhelmed with the amount of like medications and stuff they've been on in the past, so they just generally avoid. Then it gets too late, then they have to go to emergency. But so I've seen a few of them, and I'm like, you really need to go get, like, I want to help you, but I can't. Please go. Call me when you're there so I know. I've had a few of them, unfortunately. But also like fertility stuff as well. So there's no semen analysis in town. There's no just general like specialists, I guess.
Yeah.
So the government's really good in terms of, they've got this thing called PATS. So if you need a specialist, you need a colonoscopy or things like that, you get flights and accommodation and things organised for yourself. So there's good things in town to help support, but there's just not enough, and you're waiting months to get in. And even like day surgery as well, you can be waiting like 6 months to get something done. So it's a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
It's an absolute challenge. Yep.
And so when you talk to a lot of people, right, like some naturopaths and that like really like a treatment plan, but if you've got FIFO workers and you may be not seeing them, I guess that might be another little bit of a challenge for you. So how do you work with that? Are you sort of trying to give them as much information so that if they go to another naturopath back in Perth or something like that, they can actually take that and then continue their treatment? Or are you kind of happy to wait that month until they come back and then you can follow them up? How does that sort of look out there with that remote?
Well, I guess it's different for everyone as well. I keep saying that.
Oh, it's true though. Yeah.
It's just so different. So I do follow up like phone calls and treatment plans as well. So usually I'm like word vomiting in my consult. So, and like you can see their like eyes glaze over. Like, don't worry, I'll put this in an email for your reference in case you want that. So I do like an email treatment plan, I guess. And then follow-ups are usually a couple of weeks to a month because I want to know what I've given you has had some time to kick in as well. So herbs especially, like I need a good couple of months for them to really like do what they need to do. But then I'm waiting a lot of time for test results to come back. So yeah, but I definitely refer people on as well, especially because some people from Perth, they want to go see someone in person. So tell me where you're living, I'll find someone that I know or trust, and my mentors as well. They do a lot of beautiful support for me. Specifically, shout out to Gloria. She's my lecturer and naturopath in Perth, and she's absolutely fabulous with kids and women. Amazing. So much support from my lecturers as well.
Well, that's excellent, because I guess that's be like one of the biggest things that you would need out there. I mean, because you're quite far away from everything.
Help me, I'm by myself.
So so sort of tyranny of distance, you've got to rely on supplements like you were saying, but what's your preferred method of treatment? Are you a big herbal? Do you love herbs, or are you put more diet supplements? What kind of naturopathic treatments do you really like to give to your clients? How does that look in your world?
I absolutely am obsessed with herbs, and I am the biggest herb nerd you can find. I can't help it. You can find me like in my back shelf. I'm just like looking at them, smelling them, touching them. Like, it's bad. But I always start with diet lifestyle stuff. People, I'm saying a lot as well. I feel like I'm saying a lot that you can't supplement out like a healthy diet. So getting that diversity into people and getting them understanding where they can get their vitamins, nutrients, and things like that from in their diet, and then supporting after testing if necessary. So we always start with like underground basic stuff. Some people want all of the things, so I try and limit like one, maybe two things at a time. Because like I said before, like I don't know what's working, so I would rather get those tests and be more specific with herbs rather than just generally just take all of the things and then come back in a month's time. Like, number one, compliance is an issue with herbs, so I would rather figure out what they would prefer as well, like whether they prefer like a powder or a tablet or things like that. So
wonderful. And I guess again, since you have to wait so much for like the biomedical testing, have you found yourself relying a little bit more on the traditional naturopathic diagnostics, or how does that sort of work in your world, and what have you found?
So you can tell a lot by symptoms, can't you? It's something that we went through a lot with my lecturers at Endeavour, but looking at nail signs, tongue signs, iridology, I use a lot, even just their vitality. So like you can see like my neck is like crazy. So if someone came to me and be like, oh, like what's going on here? Is that a stress response or but just like looking at the person, you can see so much. So some people prefer to have something on paper, like they can see their test results and that's a reason why you're experiencing this. But some people just are like, things, just tell me what I need to do. So iridology is pretty interesting. I've seen some cool things up here, but a lot of like inflammation, stress, and digestive zone things going on up here. So I do use a lot of physical science too.
And I guess the other thing is like, how have you found the compliance with the herbs? Like, because again, if you're not like, I personally love herbs. Like I love it. I love the weird taste.
Good.
I love everything that goes along with them.
They're so
But
weird, aren't they? Yeah.
oh yeah, you just like it. Just I don't know. It does something to you. Like, oh, that's interesting. But I can understand why people might not necessarily have that same affinity, especially if you're coming from a bit more of a pharmaceutical background. So, have you? Yeah, how's that been for you out there? Have you got like people coming in saying, "What did you give me? That tastes so strange." Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very honest up front straight away. Like, look, I want to give you some herbs. They taste like absolute tries and I'm not gonna lie about that, but if you can do a tequila shot, you can definitely do a shot of herbs. But you know how some like taste kind of good, I don't know if I should say that, but like kava, for example, that kind of sweet glycetract kind of version, I use those a lot for like nervous system support and anxiety and stuff like that. And they actually don't taste too bad. So I've got some people that weirdly enjoy the gross taste. And they're like, please give me some more of your magic herbal tonic and give me that yucky tasting stuff, because they see effects. So the more people that come back to me and like give me their reviews and their results as well, like it just keeps solidifying the fact that you don't need to take them forever. It's a short-term gain of terribleness for improvement in symptoms and resolving things. So people love it. It's so strange. It's so strange.
I'm one of those, so I can't be the pot calling the kettle. So as well then, with you seeing, like, do you see many kids then with your families? So like, are you sort of seeing mums and kids and dad and all that? So how big is the kid, your kid consultations out there?
It's huge. It's huge. So there's a lot of daycare jams that go around. Like, it's just such a small town, everyone picks up everything. But there's a lot of digestive stuff and food intolerances. So I've seen a few, but I'm not 100% like down with everything. So I'm honest about that. I'm like, look, I don't know that much about kids. I want to do research. If you're happy for me to take some time and get tests on and all of that jazz, then bear with me. Let me reach out to my support and mentors and kind of get some support for you there. But I will always refer if I don't feel like I'm giving them enough.
Definitely. And pediatrics is such a it's such a specialty, because definitely it's like it's very scary. So I can understand
it's not my favorite thing to do, but I love little babies that come in and they're like so squishy and you just want to do everything and help everyone, but sometimes it's just not possible for my brain yet.
And so do you also make up for people like herbal salves and that, and balms and that sorts of stuff, or like you have to import them in? Like, how does that work, being so far away from everything for you?
I utilize a lot of like delivery things, like particularly like Renner and Optimal RX and Integra and all of those ones. Does take a bit of time to get up here, but I do have quite a bit of a collection of herbal balms and stuff. I use mostly vitamin E cream base, and then just put my liquid herbs in there. But I love making creams. I think they're so much fun. I loved herbal manufacturing when I was in school. So anything that I can put a herb in, I'm in there. Like, I've got probably like about 30 different tea blends, and I've got about like 90 different types of herbs. So I'm pretty well equipped at the moment. But
definitely.
Always want more.
I love it. I'm looking at your dispensary. I'm like, oh wow, it looks pretty good.
I'm a bit obsessed. Can't help it.
What good naturopath isn't, though, right?
That's very true. That's very true.
Well, look, time's up, unfortunately, but we'd just like to thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your wonderful self with us.
No worries at all. I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much. Like, this is so much fun talking about what I want to do and forever. And
and so if anyone out there is in Port Hedland, please come see Victoria. Of course, where can they find you? Where's your website? Where's your contact details? Where's the best place?
So pretty much find me on Facebook or Instagram is the best way to get me. I've got a link to my online booking system. Otherwise, you can search my details on Google or your internet browser. I'm always popping up, but if you search for Vicki Bask Naturopath, then I'm sure you'll be able to see me on social media doing some weird mixtures of herbs and yeah,
wonderful. Cool. Well, as always, guys, those links will be down underneath in the description. So please, if you're out around Port Hedland or Newman or anywhere of those remote Western Australian towns, please contact Vicki. And if you're another therapist who'd love to hear about the weird and wonderful adventures I'm sure that she's had out in the middle of nowhere, please contact her as well. But yeah, we'd just like to thank you again. Yeah. We'd just like to thank you again so much for coming on Therapist Spotlight. And for everybody out there, have a great evening and we'll catch us all next time. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Therapist Spotlight. If you would like to know more about ANTA, visit us at www.anta.com.au.